Hey, what's up, guys? This is Wolf Atlas here, bringing you another episode of War Divisions. And today I'm gonna do some commentary for EX80 floor of the tower, and it's not too hard. But I understand it's gonna be easy for a lot of people, and maybe some people haven't cleared it yet. Or if you're looking into this in the future, maybe you want to figure out how to go about this. So I'm gonna try some commentary again. I don't do this too often, but for this floor, I'm gonna give it a shot. This floor, you want to bring lightning and earth units to help you get through it. 2 DPS and 1 tank of whatever element out of those 2 should work for you, and then any healer you want will be fine. This map is very small compared to the other EX floors. I think there was one other EX floor that was kind of small, but this one's particularly small, and this one only has 2 waves because they just throw a lot of the enemies at you right off the bat. So my strategy for this floor was to just huddle up to see how it goes. See how fast the enemies approach you, and then go from there. And they do approach you pretty quickly. Mind you, this is when I did this clear, this was actually the first time I cleared this. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like going in blind myself. So I did check out at least Glacier's statuses, but for the rest of the stuff, I was just trial and error how to go about it. A lot of the enemies are susceptible to immobilization, so if you have units that have moves that will keep them in place, that helps out a lot, especially since this is a small map and enemies can group up pretty easy. If you're able to immobilize them, then you can AoE them to death more often. Let's see, what are the tips I could bring for this map? Dealing with Omega weapon here and then later on Europa isn't too bad if you just keep them separate from the groups. I would say that those 2 hit the hardest, especially Omega Weapon, because he's one of the few non-water units on this map. There's a lot of water units on this map, so that's why you want to bring maybe a tad bit more lightning than earth. But I would suggest at least an earth tank to take care of Europa. But Omega here does hit kind of hard. He hits mainly with magic attacks, I believe. So bringing a magic tank might help you out, but I went with Mont, and Mont was just fine. As long as you build up your spirit and magic defense, any tank should do. But yeah, I just kept close with all my units. It helps build up CT because the less movement I did, the more chances I got to take a turn, especially when using the MR units. They have lower agility in some cases, so I had to do what I can to make sure that I could at least get more turns in. Here I did Shadow Flare because everyone was grouped up, and I figured if I could Shadow Flare the enemy group, I could lower their area attack resistance and then do even more damage. It didn't mean that Glacier got another turn, but she wasn't doing as much damage to my units because both Mont and Durando have good physical defenses, so I was fine with that. And they both have decent stats in piercing, so it was okay. Here Omega came in to do his damage, and that almost knocked down Mont. But Mont was able to survive, and I was able to pull off a heal. If you have sources of machine killer, then this just makes it a lot easier to deal with, because both Omega and Europa are machines, and just bring in anything that has machine killer or tuning your Espers for machine killer would just make it much easier. I said two wave earlier. I meant 3. It's essentially 2 because once you knock out 2 enemies, 2 dinosaurs appear to replace them. And their purpose is throw out magic attacks and power up magic attacks, which Omega and Europa does. But they're easily ignorable because sometimes they can paralyze you. But I'm not too worried about that. Enemy Mont poses the most threat, but because he's tanky and he can lower your slash resistance. But because not many other of the units on the map use slash attacks, it's not too much of an issue. And then Ramona, she's just there to chain with Glaciela, but once you take out Glaciela, she's not really a threat, especially if you have your lightning units. So like here, she did Earth Glory. She did knock out Fina, which I was upset about. But as you can see, I'm gonna be reviving her with Solera. If you feel like your healers can't survive, just bring a support healer. Solera was a perfect choice because she could be an attacker, and if she needs to take over as a healer, she can do that because she has white mage sub job. She doesn't have access to full life, and if Raze doesn't work, then I'm in trouble. But she works perfectly well as both a black mage and a healer, so I wasn't too worried about Fina losing there. I think here I was debating if I wanted to do damage or try to revive Fina. Of course, I think I went ahead to try to revive Fina. Yeah, so I try to raise Fina here, and I figured I'm gonna have Mont try to drive away some of the aggro from some of these enemies. That way Fina has a better chance of surviving when she comes back to life, because sometimes when you re-raise a unit using Raze, because they don't have much HP, they get aggro real quick from enemies, and then they go down again, and you kind of don't want that. So here I took out Ramona, and now Europa comes out, which is the last wave of this floor. But again, if you keep them at bay, both of them are susceptible to immobilization, then you don't have to worry about them too much. I never really looked at their stats to see what they were weak against, but they are strong against slash. It seems like they don't take magic too well, but because Solera has unit attack resistance down on one of her moves, it wasn't too much of an issue. And like I said, Mont takes a hit pretty well. Europa, when he comes in, he always will do his buff first before he starts engaging. So that's something to try to take advantage of. So here I was just deciding if I want to go on the offensive or if I want to try to be defensive, but I figured Fina's gonna get a turn, so I decided to go on the offensive here. Here I decided to have Durando try to take care of these two. His Massacre Cleave does do defense down, which is a big help. So now Fina's turn. Fina is gonna do her superior healing to top people off. Mont's gonna get a turn, but he's out of AP, so thankfully that allowed Fina to do her thing. So from here I just started racking up chains, or seeing what I can do about taking down a mega weapon, because at this point a mega weapon just does a lot of magic damage. As you can see there, he procced Mont's courage. Mont was able to take it. At this point, Mont was too far away to try to save through the means of heals, so he died. I knew I had to at least have Mont up to start tanking things, but I also needed to start clearing enemy units, because if I spend time just trying to revive and not clearing any enemies, then it's not going to be beneficial for me. So now we're just down to 2 dinosaurs, make that 1 dinosaur, and 2 machines. I had Duranda here just focus on Europa, and this is where I realized that Europa was susceptible to immobilization. If you have Summer Lilith, she's very good at immobilization, and she's an Earth unit, so she could take out Europa from far away without having ever getting near him. So that's one unit I would recommend for this map, because she could just snipe, shadow bind him from far away. She has the master ability that allows her to immobilize better than other units. And as you can see here, Europa can't do anything, so because he's out of range, so he decides to do his buff. And this allowed my Fina to have enough casting time to be able to revive Mont. Full life 95% of the time never fails me. That 5% that happens really pisses me off. Europa did heal off his mobilization, paralyzing Mont again, but at this point there was only 3 units yet left, so it wasn't too upset about that. And because he raised his agility, it allowed him to get another turn on Mont, or my Mont at least. Oh, I forgot the enemy Mont is still there, but see, he's not so much of an issue. That's why I'm not too worried about him too much. I feel the main threat of this map will be Omega Weapon. So if you take him out, then you have a better chance at winning. I'm not sure if killing him first will proc Europa quicker or not, but it's just something to keep in mind. So here, because I have Fina with the holiday card, the one that features Idira and Elsora, she had access to Holy Knight's Purge, which allowed me to immobilize Omega Weapon. And again, immobilization is your best friend on this map, so just utilizing that any way you can will help you win for sure. And if enemies are group up, just AoE them to death and you'll be fine. This map, again, it's not too hard, but if you are having trouble, just utilize enemies with utilize units that have immobilization. So Shadow Bind from Rangers will definitely help. Holy Knight's Purge for any of your clerics or arithmeticians. Just have them hold that card, and they have at least 2 chances to mobilize someone. You only need 1 or 2 units to do that. So here I did it again. Holy Knight's Purge is pretty good of a move, because it not only does immobilization but also lowers their attack and magic damage. So King Mont's not gonna do much here. He does knock out Solir, but at this point, since I'm almost done with the map, I figure I'll just keep going. I'm so used to, at this point, resetting, because when I'm doing clears with MR units, that tends to happen, that the MR unit will get KO'd and then I lose the no KO missions. But for the towers, there is no such thing as no KO missions, unless you're trying to do the towers for point wise, although I don't think the EX floors count towards the points. But at this point, I don't do the tower just for like the great rating system at the end. I don't do that. But I said, Selir, you did your job. Let Fina take care of the rest. And from here on out, she went into healer mode. I was trying to make sure that Mott didn't die, because I need him to heal off of that paralyzation. But I didn't want to use superior healing because you only have so much of that, so much uses for that move, and it's such a good move. But to use it on just one unit, I didn't want that to happen. So I decided to just try to keep Mott alive with Cure for a little bit. Another thing is I didn't bring Warrior Light's Trustmaster. So because I wasn't sure how long this battle was gonna be, and this was again my first time going into this floor. So I kind of went into this blind, only following what the floor suggested, just to see what I had to do before I had to really prepare it. And it wasn't that bad. So I kept casting Cure onto Mott, but Mott's suffering from paralyzation. Durando, meanwhile, is trying to take care of Europa by himself. I was bringing in Sir Ol, so he could try to help out, bringing down Europa as quickly as possible. Mott here was to try disable my Fina, which was starting to get me worried, because now I have disabled Fina going, and if Fina's disabled, then I'm not going to be able to heal Mott. So at this point, Fina has to run away. I actually did forget that Mott can disable. However, it wasn't too bad. He's busy just trying to get rid of Fina for sure. So here, Mott finally got a turn to do something. I didn't have much AP to work with, but I did have a summon to utilize. So I was trying to figure out who I should best try to do it on, and I decided to do it on the dinosaur. Summon Golem. Durando takes advantage of Golem's field, and Durando was coming up, so I figured if I just start doing damage on Durando, then I have a better chance at winning this. So meanwhile, Sir Ol is just gonna whittle down onto King Mott to take him down. So I finally took down Europa. I figured I'd just stay there to save some CT. As for Fina, I was trying to figure out the best position to run from, but at this point I figured she was just gonna be dead. But there's only 2 enemies left, so they can't do that much damage to me. I realized I shouldn't have moved Fina there, because the rest of Sir Ol's moves are moves that hit surrounding him, and I moved Fina into a position that surrounds him no matter which way I did. So Fina was just gonna die from there. King Mott gets the last laugh on me for that. So both my healer and support healer died in this match, but it's fine. King Mott is just gonna go down, so I'm not too worried about that. But I hope this commentary helps. If you're looking for the gear setup, it's gonna be in the description below. There's gonna be a link, and I hope to see you guys next time in the next video. See you guys later. Bye.